Hello, Gary video. Monday morning. I'm having quite a lot of fun here. I didn't think I would, but I listened to the first of your videos. I started on it anyway, the MP3 one, and downloaded that because I might do a clip from it. And then started into your short response to me, and it's quite funny. I've been sitting here with a kind of it could be looked upon as a superior face on it. It's kind of one of these, how's it go, sort of things. But it's not. I'm just vaguely amused that the communication, when it goes wrong, it sometimes can be frustrating, but sometimes it's very funny. And this morning it's just very funny. When this pass I gave you to explain the I can control my shitting and pissing thing, was not to explain it to me. I understood what you were talking about. And that's why I did the little thing to say that I understand what you're talking about. So you could explain it to other people. Because when you try to explain it to me, other people won't understand a damn thing what you're talking about. Because it's kind of, you're explaining it in Nick sort of language. And it's been a waste of time, really. I know what you were talking about. But I thought other people will have seen that video and not understood quite what you were talking about, and it's a good to do a first not introductory video. You could do it introductory, medium or advanced video about all your ways of thinking about different brains and how they work and this sort of thing, but then it ended up you trying to explain it to me again, and yeah, thanks. And then I've been through a couple of other smiley points and got to, oh, and I can see your brain going now, oh, you just think this is funny. I've got to the bit where you're trying again, where you're giving it order of, I'm hearing you when you say that I'm something and not someone, but what can I do with that? I know I'm a clump. I'm something. And I'm going, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, what can I say? The difference between something and somebody. Okay, I've got to come up with more metaphors now, because the amendum brain's trying, but it's not getting there. So there's no something, there's no somebody in here. We've got that. There's no soul. There's no nothing special. The bottle that's wrapped in the bits of paper. It's all just bits of paper. All wrappings of bits of paper. And when you get to the middle of the wrappings of bits of paper, there's nothing except you've got bits of paper all over the place. And that's the crucial bit. There's no central part of the brain that's being protected by other parts of the brain. There's no older brain that's being protected by newer brains. There's no newer brain that's being protected by older brains. There's nothing like that, is there? There's no central anything. It's pretty arbitrary saying the central something's actually the brain. But if we say it is, which I can go along with quite merrily, there's just no central part of the brain to protect. And when I talk in your metaphors of programming or dwarves, string, puppets, whatever it might be, we get to the bit in your first video, the Skype video, where you just go, like we've gone down a rabbit hole together and it's getting all dark and spooky, and you go, hit the escape button and then pop up to the surface. I'll play it now, seeing I've had the intention of doing it. I'll play it now. Bloop.
And some other guy, and I got really hostile at the end because he's one of these stupid nihilist guys saying suffering doesn't matter, and it just pisses me off, and I'm sick of this crap. But anyway, there might be some value in the conversation. I have no idea, Skype thing. Don't even remember what the hell I was saying. We agreed through most of it. Just the end, it just went all to shit. I have no patience with this crap. It's just too annoying to have to. If we can't accept as a premise that suffering is a value, then I just have no interest in conversation with people who won't concede that fact. If I have to explain that rape is bad and cancer is bad and all this stuff is bad, then fuck it. It's not worth my time. Anyway.
bloop, and that's the end of that. Okay, what you do all the time is you just get scared down the rabbit hole and press the escape button and go up to the daylight where you've got your little dolly of surety, when you've got suffering, you can cuddle your suffering, and it's absolute. It's an absolute. That's it. That's what it is. Your little dolly of absolute. Well, I've got absolute certainty in this suffering thing. And then you feel all better again because you've got your absolute of suffering, and then you can, from your absolute of suffering, you can base all sorts of absolute things about, well, you shouldn't torture somebody because it's absolutely bad, because suffering's absolutely bad. And you feel well again, and you feel happy again, and a great weight goes off your brain cells. But that's all it is. It's just, that's your dolly that you cling to. But it's just and you know, like a child, you won't rationally explain why you want to cuddle the dolly, but you will always want to cuddle this dolly. And that's where you always go when we get down to the scary parts down in the rabbit hole. And you do it every time. Even in this video, it was quite comical that you went, it doesn't matter. Anyway, okay, I've got to do more analogy type stuff. Okay, so we know there's no central thing here. There's nothing to suffer at all. So what have we got? We've got a couple of things came to mind. The first thing was at the end of Life of Brian, or the end of Spartacus does the same thing. And I'm not sure. My mind's, I think, mixed the two up. I'm Brian. No, I'm Brian. Or I'm Spartacus. No, I'm Spartacus. And that's what's going on in the head. And that's all that's going on in the head. Loads of voices going, I'm Spartacus. I'm Brian. I'm Brian. No, I'm Brian. And, you know, quite a lot of them might go, I'm suffering. I'm suffering. No, you're not. I'm suffering. But none of them are suffering. They're all just actors, either on horses or standing in a field being directed by, no, forget the directed, that confuses matters. They're just actors in the head. You know, how it does it, no idea. But they're actors doing all sorts of, oh, that's a nice bit of stuff. Oh, jump on her, whatever it might be. Or, oh, no, you can't do that. You know, what was that film? The Devil and the Angel on the Shoulder. Voices in the head. That's what we've got, is voices in the head. But the voices in the head, all the actors, aren't speaking to a great lordly person sitting up on the dais in great splendour. The actors are just talking to each other. There's no one, you know, you might get a dominant actor, but he's just an actor, or she's just an actor in the head. There are all sorts of actors in the head just talking to each other. And they're going, I'm suffering, no, I'm suffering, and all this sort of thing. And that's what you've got. And none of them are suffering, they're just actors, acting suffering. And the thing that you keep going back to is, surely, you know, I'm, but there's no I'm. There's no I'm. There's just these actors, and none of them are suffering. But some of them are very good at pretending they're acting. And they're not, this is the crucial thing. They're not pretending to godly emendum in the head. Well, you know, we've been through this with God botherers, that there's no soul, there's no godly emendum in the head. They're just acting to each other into the other actors there, the other voices. Yeah, that's all it is. And you go, well, I've got to do it again because you keep running away from again, you ran to the pointy end. The information comes in and the actors do whatever they act. But the crucial thing is, the real blunt end of the pen, is that they're only actors. And they're not acting for an audience, they're acting for each other. And they're all as equally as bogus as each other. They've just got different propensities to act in different ways. Some are, and some are, oh, for the wings of a dove. But they're all just actors, and it matters not a jot to anybody but them. It's important to them. Lots of them pretty prissy about their acting, and they don't like it criticised. But they're just voices in the head. their voices in their head. So, strangely enough, Mrs. Mystic and I have just started watching on DVD thing, That Beautiful Mind. And I've seen it before, so I know what happens to him. It's voices in the head. But these people that think they're Napoleon, and these doctors that think they're right and cure these people that think they're Napoleon, they think that's crazy. But it's kind of... Everyone seems to think that these voices in the head are speaking to a... Let's get this really right into the darkness here. I've got to go the right way, that way. Speaking to a really important them. That's them. I. This is the I. And there is no I. And then you'll go, I know, Nick, I know there's no I. But we suffer. I'm suffering. And that's just a voice in your head saying, I'm suffering. And what is the voice in the head speaking to? Other voices in the head. There's no audience. There's no you sitting in the audience watching these performances. There is just the performers on the stage performing for each other. There's no dominant one. There's no there's no special one there. They're just voices in the head. Yeah, complete madness. You've been through the voices in the head sort of analogy, but in the way you've kind of had it as up on the screen. You've got this up on the screen as though there is somebody important sitting in the audience watching all this up on the screen. There's nobody in the audience watching this up on the screen. It's a much better analogy that the voices in the head are just actors doing their and that's all you've got. And it matters not a jot if one of these actors gets shot, boom, or chainsawed into, vroom, they might go, I'm being cut into. It doesn't matter at all, because he's just a voice in the head, and that's all that this is, voices in the head. Some of them do the suffering thing, that you're so, press the escape button and establish, you've got a voice, one of your voices in your head is the one that's got this, dolly of certainty that must, because life can't be futile. When I say it's futile, I mean it's fucking futile. And you say, well, it's futile, life's futile, except then you'll go back to your dolly, the voice of the dolly one will go, well, but my dolly says this is absolute, suffering's absolute, and that makes it not futile because we can stop suffering and that must be good. And they're just voices in a head, but no one person is listening to them. There's nothing, nobody is listening except the other voices in the head. It's all madness. Total madness. Yeah? Madness. Madness. You get it? There's nothing to suffer. They're voices in the head pretending to suffer. Or as you so wonderfully say it, they're just programs running with little things on the screen, whatever. The programs running don't suffer. The little quadrants with different coloured faces don't suffer. The actors are pretending they suffer. But of course they're not suffering either. Nothing ever suffers. But the one clinging the little dolly of certainty of suffering does a pretty good bit of acting, but it's no more impressive to me than anything. So, find me the thing that's suffering and we might consider it. You don't even have to find it. You just throw me some sort of idea about what it could possibly be, this thing that is actually suffering. Just throw me an idea of what it could possibly be, and then we can discuss it. But until then, it's just all madness on the stage, with nobody watching at all. Bye. Oh, I've got to come straight back into this because I realised I finished with... Because whatever you finish with is so important, because the attention span of people isn't very good, so they just pick up on whatever's in short-term memory. That SD card's going in, so I'll do this one. What did I finish with? There's nobody listening, or something. There's nobody watching. And then the mind will go, well, I'm watching, so there must be somebody. all the actors on the stage are watching, if you want to continue that analogy. All the actors are watching all the other actors, but they're all as mad as dogs. All of them as mad as dogs, all pretending to be this or that, or they're going to get comfort from this, or they pretend that whatever it might be. They're all as mad as dogs. They're all watching each other, and they're all as mad as dogs. Rabid dogs. Now, that was a bit too much of an ending, a bit too much of an acting flourish. But you get it. I mean, there's nobody in the audience. There's nothing watching. All this idea of consciousness is just the other actors watching the other actors. Just the actors watching each other. And that's the illusion. When you say it's a fucking good illusion, it's an illusion interacting between the actors. And that's all there is. And none of these actors are, of course, in the slightest bit important. Yeah? There's none of them. I mean, some people have, as you know, they've got an entire Royal Shakespeare Company load of actors, and some are just doing a double act. There's nobody does standalone, or what is it, stand-up, standalone comedy, or whatever it might be. There's always a group on the stage. But the actors are just listening to each other, watching each other. That's somehow what the consciousness is. And they go, oh, really moved by that stunning reproduction, what do they do? What do they call it when they do these acting things? Oh, what a delivery of, what a reproduction of, when you really act well, and the other actors are really moved by it. You know, what a brilliant reproduction of suffering. No, forgotten what the word is. Probably come to somebody else's mind. And the other actors are moved by this. No, the word still won't come. But that's all it is. Some actors are moved by others, and others will just go, bah, well, that's shit. and that's all it is. And then it'll move on. And the funny thing is, I shouldn't really have gone to this, but this is how we actually feel. Yeah. When you can get over the words, this is how we actually feel, which is implying again there is one thing feeling. That's how we actually feel. We feel like an actor on the stage sometime, giving it this performance. And sometimes we feel like we're an actor off stage watching a performance, and so, you know, that's how we feel. And then we feel sometimes like actor or actors off a stage watching an interaction between two other actors on the stage. They're all on the stage. Do you get? You know, there's nothing in my analogy there isn't wild, because it's our it's very tricky, our experience of life is, but that is what our experience of life is. And that's how it feels. I can guarantee, because I do it and I'm so normal, that's how you, whoever you might be out there, feels. You feel like sometimes you're the actor, and sometimes you're watching other actors or listening to other actors acting. And that is all there is. There's only the actors, and there's no one principal actor, there's no one principal director, there's no one principal, there's no audience, it's just a load of fucking loonies on the stage. Influencing each other for no reason at all. You've been wonderful. Couldn't have done it without you. Bye. And another one on the end, straight to Gary, this one. That I can get into his actors. We know this. That's just the information that feeds through to the actors. We've got that. We don't need any more of the pointy end of the pen. But I, through the camera, through the internet, through Vlogadome, can get my pointy end right into your stage. Yeah? I can influence you. So, pointy end coming into your stage, jab your actors and say, get hold of that prissy little bitch and her dolly with a little cuddly suffering thing and the absolutes and give her a damn good slapping. And say, come to a bit of reality, missy. Yeah? Give her a damn good slapping. Put her in a place. Put her in a little wicker basket for a week or so. Yeah?
I have no patience with this crap. It's just too annoying to have to. If we can't accept as a premise that suffering is a value, then I just have no interest in conversation with people who won't concede that fact. If I have to explain that rape is bad and cancer is bad and all this stuff is bad, then fuck it. Just
shut up.